One of the best parts about living in the Triad, you know what it is.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm going to say anyway, right? The beaches are a short drive away.
Especially on a cold day like today, they just sound wonderful.
They do.
They are a huge part of family vacations and a lot of the summer memories we all have.
Yeah, but those nice, serene beaches, well, they're disappearing. They're shrinking away, and this is not virtual reality.
No, like we're in right now, not at all. It is really happening on our coast because of climate change.
From the Carolina coast, where beaches are washing out to sea, to America's heartland, where farmers are facing career-ending consequences, all at the hands of climate change.
And across the country to the Redwood forest threatened by fires and droughts. Our country is being attacked by climate change, but Americans are fighting back.
So let's dig into what's being done to protect the environment, starting right here with WFMY News 2's Chad Silber, looking at what's happening in the Outer Banks.
The Outer Banks are evolving as much as the lives of their visitors. The biggest change? They're shrinking. Scientists say a rising sea level is one of the main contributors.
We're looking at a current rate of sea level rise of about 4 to 4.5 millimeters a year.
It doesn't sound like a lot, but it is when you look at the big picture. That's according to Reed Corbett, Executive Director of the Coastal Studies Institute.
We've seen basically a foot of sea level rise over the last century, and we're expecting a foot of sea level rise in the next 30 years.
Corbett says it's a concerning issue for the Outer Banks since much of the area is just 10 feet above sea level or less.
If you just raise sea level a foot, you can inundate a very large area of coastal North Carolina.
An increase in beach erosion is the other shrinking factor.
It's been erosive in the past, but it didn't have erosion rates as high as what they've been in the last 5 or 10 years. The erosion rate in that area has increased.
Data shows some beaches in the Outer Banks are eroding at a rate of 10 to 15 feet a year.
Our beaches are the economy.
Danny Couch knows the risks associated with beach erosion.
You either get on top of it or it's going to get on top of you.
The Dare County Commissioner represents Avon Beach, an area of the Outer Banks that was in desperate need of some attention.
The ocean was lapping at the dunes. The ocean was literally pulling dune sand into the surf zone.
We were starting to lose a lot of business because this is a prime location for parking to go to the beach.
Keith Matthews has worked at the Avon Pier for 32 years.
We used to be 3 lines of dunes here, and all that's gone is just as 1 line now. It was going down the driveway into the parking lot.
Both visitors and locals appreciate efforts to save the places they've come to know, no matter the cost.
One step communities are taking to save their beaches is called beach nourishment. Giant pipes are used to pull sand from the ocean to create a brand new beach. It's effective, but it's certainly not cheap. County leaders in the area say they've already spent over $20 million, which paid for just 2.5 miles of new beach. Plus, the process has to be redone at least every 5 years. Doesn't last very long. But looking at the before and after pictures, the benefits are really clear there. Both of you guys have lived in beach towns. This is a big problem.
Yeah, those beach towns are very vulnerable communities, and a lot of people even now don't recommend people living along the coast, whether you're talking North Carolina or Florida, because of the fact that the ocean and everything is just pushing on in closer and closer.
Yeah, and you know, I've lived in several places where they did that pipeline and stuff like that, and it really is every 5 to 6 years. Once again, you're watching them pump all that sand in there, and then once again, you're watching it just go.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because you're already paying premium prices to live in those spots, and they're the most in danger.
Or vacation in those spots.
Yeah, vacation. It's the vacation too, because even sometimes you'll go to the beach in high tide in some places, and you only have a little bit of beach left when you're sitting, you know, go during the morning time, you have all this beach, and then by the afternoon, you're like, well, you got to get off the beach anyway. Even though the sun's going down, you have to get off anyway because there's not much
space.
Yeah.
Well, from the coast to America's heartland, folks are finding ways to fight climate change's impact on their livelihoods.
This year, we had a very wet spring, which is actually the 4th consecutive year of an abnormally wet planting season for us. When it finally stopped raining in May, it really stopped raining. I mean, it didn't rain for about 40 days after that.
Hallie Schaffner, a sixth-generation farmer, describes this constant shift from one extreme to the next as the perfect storm, one that's increasingly difficult for her farm to withstand.
Climate change is no longer a hypothetical situation. Farmers and ranchers are bearing the brunt of this.
It's a divisive topic for some, but for Hallie, the realities of climate change are having a very real impact on her family's way of life.
So on top of being thrown off course because of all of this rain and flooding, we're now contending with being thrown off course with extreme heat and no rain at all. The challenge is not addressing any single weather event. It's addressing these paper cuts that just sort of keep adding on. It's like a wound that never quite heals.
For each day the weather prevents Schaffner from being in her fields, that leads to higher cost to run her farm and ultimately smaller harvest. Two key factors that are driving up the price that we pay at the grocery store.
Forget the politics. Let's talk about you and me, food that comes on the table, money that goes into your pocket. Thinking about what kind of foods do you love? Do you go to the grocery store and you buy? How accessible and affordable do you want those to be?
These are the questions that led Schaffner to rethink how she works the very soil that her ancestors have for generations. In doing so, she's pioneered and reimagined farming in a more resilient and sustainable way.
That means changing the way we farm. In many cases, it means treating our soil fertility differently so that we can use fewer fertilizers and less chemical. Converting to electric wells and installing solar, for example, to reduce our energy costs, become more energy independent.
It also means planting seeds of change, quite literally. Schaffner's farm is working with some of the largest ag companies to grow and test new varieties of crops, designed specifically to withstand the same harsh weather extremes that have become the norm.
These genetics help farmers get more for less, even in difficult conditions. The goal is better harvest, more money for farmers. The upside is we're combating climate change at the same time.
Scientists are also working hard to save one of nature's most iconic trees. As giant redwoods are being threatened by more and more wildfires in California, there is a team that is trying to clone them. They are focusing on a type of tree called marvels. Named that because they grow 10 times faster and soak up more carbon dioxide than other trees. The team plans to plant the new trees in new places across the country, hoping to reduce greenhouse emissions nationwide.
There are a few things that you can do right now to fight climate change. You can switch to those LED light bulbs. You can recycle. It takes less energy to create recycled products than it does to produce new ones. And you can upgrade your home's insulation.
Remember, all the small things do add up.